Pawn Stars boss Rick Harrison pays a fortune for small rock that's possibly older than Earth. Rick Harrison, the charismatic and often blunt businessman behind the hit reality TV show Pawn Stars, is no stranger to unique and valuable items. Over the years, his Las Vegas-based pawn shop, World Pawn, has seen everything from rare coins and vintage guitars to Civil War memorabilia and ancient artifacts. But one of the most fascinating purchases he's ever made came in the form of something small, unassuming yet potentially older than Earth itself. In a memorable episode of Pawn Stars, a customer walked into the shop with a small rock wrapped in a cloth. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than a curious souvenir, or perhaps an oddity collected during a trip. But when the customer claimed it was a piece of a meteorite, Rick Harrison leaned in closer. His curiosity piqued. This wasn't just any rock if authentic, it could be worth thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars. The customer explained that the meteorite had been part of a larger specimen discovered in Morocco, a known hotspot for meteorite hunting. He was asking $30,000 for the 1.5-pound fragment. That was a steep price for what looked like a simple stone, but Rick knew better than to dismiss such claims without investigation. He turned to his go-to expert, Dr. Kevin Hicks, a geology professor and frequent consultant on the show. After running tests, including checking for the presence of a fusion crust and analyzing the internal structure for signs of extraterrestrial origin, Dr. Hicks confirmed the rock's authenticity. It was indeed a genuine meteorite, and not just any kind. It belonged to a classification known as a carbonaceous chondrite, a rare type of stony meteorite that contains organic compounds and is believed to originate from the early solar system. Carbonaceous chondrites are among the oldest materials in our solar system, dating back over 4.5 billion years, possibly even older than Earth itself, which is estimated to be around 4.54 billion years old. These meteorites are considered time capsules, offering scientists invaluable insights into the formation of planets, the origins of water, and even the building blocks of life. What makes carbonaceous chondrites so valuable isn't just their rarity, but also their scientific significance. Because they have remained largely unchanged since the birth of the solar system, they provide clues about the chemical composition of the primordial nebula that gave rise to the sun and planets. Some contain amino acids, the basic components of proteins, fueling theories that life on Earth may have been seeded by organic material delivered via meteorites. Rick Harrison, despite his usual skepticism, was clearly impressed. He understood the historical and scientific weight of the object sitting on his counter. After some back-and-forth negotiation, a hallmark of every Pawn Stars deal, he agreed to pay the seller $25,000 for the meteorite. It was a significant investment, but Rick saw the potential for future profit, especially if the meteorite gained attention from collectors or museums. Meteorites have long fascinated collectors, scientists, and space enthusiasts alike. Their value can vary widely depending on several iron meteorites are common and relatively inexpensive, while rarer types like lunar or Martian meteorites can sell for thousands per gram. His larger specimens generally command higher prices, though smaller pieces from famous falls or with scientific interest can also be valuable. Provenance: meteorites with a documented fall or found in historically significant locations tend to fetch higher prices. Scientific interest: specimens that contribute to research or offer new data can be priceless to institutions and universities. Carbonaceous chondrites, particularly the Ci and Cm subtypes, are highly sought after due to their organic content and age. Some have sold at auction for hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially when they come from well-documented sources or have large mass. Rick's purchase of a relatively modest-sized meteorite might seem extravagant to outsiders, but within the world of meteorite collecting, it was a calculated move. By acquiring a scientifically intriguing specimen, he positioned himself to potentially resell it to a museum, university, or private collector willing to pay a premium. One of the reasons Pawn Stars has become such a successful show is because of its ability to capture the excitement of discovery. Every day brings something new through the doors of World Pawn, sometimes mundane, sometimes extraordinary. And when that something comes from outer space, it taps into a universal fascination with the cosmos. For many people, holding a meteorite is like touching a piece of history beyond human comprehension. It's a tangible connection to the stars, a reminder that Earth is just one tiny speck in an immense and ancient universe. For Rick Harrison, handling such an object isn't just a business transaction. It's a moment of wonder. His decision to invest in the meteorite reflects a broader trend in collectibles, the growing market for space-related artifacts. With private space exploration companies like SpaceX pushing the boundaries of what's possible, public interest in space has surged. Collectors are now paying top dollar for astronaut memorabilia, moon rocks, and yes, real meteorites. To fully appreciate the significance of Rick's purchase, it helps to understand the science behind meteorites. Most meteorites originate from asteroids in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. When these space rocks survive their fiery descent through Earth's atmosphere and land on the surface, they become meteorites. Carbonaceous chondrites, like the one Rick bought, are particularly interesting because they haven't undergone significant changes since their formation. They contain high levels of water and organic molecules, making them key players in the study of astrobiology, the search for life beyond Earth. One of the most famous carbonaceous chondrites is the Murchison meteorite, which fell in Australia in 1969. Scientists studying Murchison found over 70 different amino acids, far more than the 20 used by life on Earth, suggesting that the ingredients for life may have originated in space. Another notable example is the Tagish Lake meteorite, which landed in British Columbia in 2000. It was preserved in near pristine condition because it fell on ice and was quickly recovered. Studies of Tagish Lake revealed complex organic compounds and provided insight into the conditions of the early solar system. These discoveries underscore why meteorites like the one purchased by Rick Harrison are so valuable. They're not just rocks, they're messengers from deep space and deep time. After purchasing the meteorite, Rick Harrison didn't keep it locked away in a display case. Instead, he put it up for sale, listing it on various platforms targeting collectors and educational institutions. Given its scientific importance and the exposure it received on Pawn Stars, it didn't take long before interested buyers came forward. Eventually, the meteorite was acquired by a university lab specializing in planetary science. While the final sale price wasn't disclosed, it's likely that Rick made a solid return on his investment. More importantly, the meteorite found its way into the hands of researchers who could unlock its secrets. This outcome highlights one of the less discussed aspects of Pawn Stars, how the show often facilitates the movement of rare and important objects into the hands of experts and institutions, where they can serve a greater purpose. While Rick is primarily in business to make money, he also understands the value of preserving history. And sometimes that means selling to someone who will cherish and study the item, rather than simply displaying it. The allure of meteorites goes beyond science and investment. There's a deeply human element to their appeal. Holding a meteorite is like holding a piece of infinity, a relic from a time before time, from a place we may never visit. It's humbling and thrilling all at once. For some, meteorites represent a tangible link to the unknown. For others, They're symbols of resilience, surviving the violent journey through space and atmosphere only to land in someone's backyard, or, in this case, a Las Vegas pawn shop. Rick Harrison's meteorite story resonates because it's a perfect blend of commerce, curiosity, and cosmic wonder. It reminds us that treasures aren't always gold or jewels. Sometimes they fall from the sky. From a business perspective, Rick's meteorite deal offers several lessons. Never underestimate the unknown. Just because something looks ordinary doesn't mean it lacks value. Expert analysis is crucial. Stay informed. Rick knew enough about meteorites to recognize their potential. Knowledge gives you an edge in negotiations. Be willing to take calculated risks. Investing in niche markets can yield surprising returns, especially when backed by expert validation. Understand the bigger picture. Sometimes the greatest value of an item lies not in its monetary worth, but in its contribution to knowledge and culture. Rick Harrison's purchase of a small, possibly older-than-Earth meteorite is more than just another episode of Pawn Stars. It's a testament to the enduring human fascination with space, the thrill of discovery, and the idea that extraordinary things can come in the smallest packages.